Now to discuss this, we are joined by legal practitioner Bayo Sanni and political analyst Biodun Sowunmi. Bayo and Biodun, you are welcome. But first off, I'm going to be directing my first question to Bayo. Bayo, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. So Bayo, does a ruling from a Canadian federal court have any legal effect within Nigeria's domestic jurisdiction?
Thank you. Good evening. You see, Nigeria is a sovereign nation. Canada is also a sovereign nation. And under the sovereignty doctrine, the decision of another country, of a court of another country, has no legal effect in the other country. It can only be persuasive. That means it can only have persuasive effect in our own court here, but it's not binding.
When you say persuasive, can you please expatiate on persuasive?
When we say persuasive, that is if a similar issue comes up in our local court here, and you can make reference to the decision of another court so that the court can look at the way that foreign court evaluated the facts and arrived at a conclusion. That's why I said persuasive effect. It doesn't have that legal binding. They are not bound to follow that decision. They can only make a reference to it and perhaps be guided by the reasoning of the judge in that foreign court. Okay. So when I say persuasive effect, it means that in canvassing your argument, you can only make reference to that decision in order to sway the mind of the court so as to perhaps consider the reasoning of that court. It's unlike the local court where a superior court has made a decision. For example, Supreme Court has made a decision in a matter. That is automatically binding on all lower courts because that's a law. That's the judicial law. You understand? So it's automatically binding on all inferior courts in Nigeria, if it's the Supreme Court of Nigeria. But if a superior court in Canada or a superior court in United Kingdom makes a decision, it can have that similar effect on courts in Nigeria.
Okay. So I'm going to come back to you on that, Bayo, regarding the influence of that ruling on whether APC or the PDP. However, let me come to Mr. Sowunmi. Mr. Biodun Sowunmi, you were with us. How concerned are you that this ruling may contribute to a broader international perception of Nigeria's major parties? Let's note that these two parties that are being spoken of are the major parties that presently is ruling Nigeria and what some people consider the strongest opposition party. Mr. Sowunmi.
Well, if you look at the situation, the way the publication came out, when I actually saw it initially, I was very skeptical about it, given the reputation of the medium on social media. And I actually trawled through the internet to read other conventional media, social media outlets, and I didn't find any direct interpretation of that. Of course, I have to engage my common sense. How logical is it, for a party, because APC and PDP were not party to that suit. It was purely an immigration matter, and it was being dealt with by an appellate authority in Canada. And I could not understand how, without any appearance from the APC or PDP, a court will come to the conclusion that registered democratic parties, no matter the infractions committed during elections, after elections, or at any time, will label them as terrorists, more or less equating them to the level of Boko Haram. For me, that is unreasonable, unthinkable, and I could not just accept that actually happened. Okay. But it's quite very relieving to now realize that, as a matter of fact, it was the interpretation of the medium, that got it all wrong to start with. And responsible medium or some media in Nigeria actually latched onto it without bothering about the verification of the information published by People's Gazette.
So you're saying it's a thing of nomenclature now. It was termed wrongly. Is that what you're suggesting?
No, by any definition, no matter how you look at it, there is no party in Nigeria that you can describe as as a terrorist party or as sponsor terrorism. Okay. You may say that individuals, some few individuals clearly identified or suspected to have links, even without being processed through criminal justice system, they are mere suspects. Some few individuals may have some links, suspected links with terrorists, but broadly as a party policy, broadly as part of his membership, broadly based on his objectives, there is no party in Nigeria, no registered political party in Nigeria qualified to be described as a terrorist group. Look, when you have issues around elections, we had them in America between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Nobody described the Democratic Party under Biden as terrorists. Nobody described the Republican Party, given even the scale of violence in America, described Trump's party as terrorists. So for me, I don't think we'll fit that label in any form, no matter how we look at it. When you talk about rigging elections, it happens in America. I am not the one alleging it. The current president of America alleged it.
All right.
If you talk about
Mr. Sowunmi, just a second. I'd like to get Bayo's opinion on something here, something that you've just noted. Now, Bayo, let's note here that most people think that it doesn't extend past Mr. Egharevba's situation, seeking what's it called now, asylum in Canada. However, he is a member or was a member of these two parties. These two parties, how do they perhaps maybe reject this classification by the court in Canada? Can they do that legally? Are there any legal recourse? And this is a sovereign nation on its own and its own judicial system, and we're Nigeria, they're parties here in Nigeria. Can they reject this in any way, shape, or form?
You see, this issue, I would say that it's an international problem. It's a lacuna in the international laws that has created this recklessness by countries declaring another organization in another country as a terrorist group. We have not read the judgment. So as a legal practitioner, I wouldn't want to delve so much into analysis of that judgment that I've not read. What we have read is the newspaper reports, where the newspaper or the media house carried that, gave us a clip of what the judgment looks like. However, it's not something that these two political parties should take with a pinch of salt. Because let me tell you something. Let me go down memory lane. Hezbollah started as a political party. Hezbollah in Lebanon started as a political party. Now, Hezbollah was declared as a terrorist organization, and now they are at the ends of they are the end of the weapons of every allies of the United States of America. Hamas started as a political party. Now we see what is going on with Hamas in Palestine. In 1983, United States of America, under the apartheid system in South Africa, declared African National Congress, Nelson Mandela's political party, as a terrorist organization. And Nelson Mandela was placed on their watch list for a long time until the man became president. See, these are actions that are not regulated by any international.
What are the implications on the president then?
So that is it. If truly, you asked a fundamental question. This is not limited to that citizen,
Mr. Egharevba.
Mr. Egharevba's application for asylum. It's a decision of a court. It's a decision of a court. If you look at the legal system in Nigeria, for example, before federal government declares a group as a terrorist organization, the federal government will approach the court, declaring that group as a terrorist organization. Do you understand? Then it will follow up with statutory provisions through the National Assembly. So you can see that the role of the judiciary in labeling an organization as a terrorist organization is very critical. So if truly that judge made that pronouncement, or that's actually the true decision of the court, it should not be taken lightly, because it will affect a whole lot of things. The president of Nigeria today is a member of one of those political parties.
Okay.
So where does that leave us?
Now, Bayo, just a second here. I'd like to engage Mr. Sowunmi here. Now, you're coming from a common sense point of view, and I'm wondering whether you think that there might be other restrictions regarding visa denials and all of that when it comes to members of these parties that have been mentioned or tagged terrorist organizations in the near future?
I think so. There are so many Nigerian Canadians who are members of either APC or PDP living in America, and they are Canadians and also Nigerians. So where will that leave Canada to start with? Are they going to start arresting their own citizens also to say they are terrorists? That's one. Number two, it's not enough. Look, when you look at the way immigration law is dispensed in Europe and Canada, you will realize that they didn't have to go through the burden of proof beyond reasonable doubt. And it's strictly an administrative decision that led to this, because that's how immigration matters are handled. And that is why you make your case. There's no need for the other party, in a case of asylum, there's no need, for the other party you allege is persecuting you to come and testify or to have representation. So it's strictly decided on the basis of what you say and what the authorities feel in Canada. And same thing as in UK. That's how asylum applications work. And when you go to court, it's the same thing that will be evaluated. It's not the way it's being presented as if a thorough two-party representation, motion and counter-motion, petitioner and respondent. No, that's not the situation. So whatever the opinion in this matter, the opinion of the appellate authority in Canada, the federal court in Canada, for me, will not be binding on all countries. It's not binding on Nigeria. It's just an opinion arising from an administrative trial by a court in Canada, and therefore I do not see that holding. Nigeria president is on his way to Japan and Brazil, and know that if he wants to go to Canada, even as a member of APC, he will be totally welcome. We should not forget the global situation currently. The extension, between in the world, between the China, Russia, fighting for multipolar world, and the West, who are fighting to retain the unipolar world. We should not forget that Nigeria has made a move to join the BRICS. Okay. So therefore, even though we have a partner status currently, we will not enjoy the favors of the Americans or the Canadians. We know that already. So that may be the undercurrent behind this issue. Right. I'm not sure. But the fact of the matter is, there is no country in Africa that would stop Nigerian president, or in Asia or Eastern Europe that will stop Nigerian president from visiting that country simply because a Canadian court, describe us, their political parties as terrorists.
All right, Mr. Biodun Sowunmi, I want to say thank you to you, and of course, Bayo Sanni in the studio here with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.